All right, thank you so much for still being with us here in Friday's edition of Morning at NTV. I am Priscilla Regina Nawoga. Our next conversation is going to be looking at the theatrics, repopularizing theatre in Uganda. And of course, we get to look at some of those plays that are currently running and how they're making the arts and performing arts in Uganda popular yet again post-COVID-19. I think we've seen a steady progress of the reawakening and the repopularizing of theatre. Myself, have had the privilege of going down to the National Theatre and watching a few acts here and there ever since, and I should say a job well done by UNCC at the National Theatre. Joining us for this conversation is Andrew Sebagala, who is a production manager with UNCC National Theatre, but also in a particular role. He is producing a play that is entitled Rope, that is currently running at the National Theatre, and it was written by Lloyd Lutara. Now we want to understand what this play is about, what's the message behind it, and how you can actually optimize on it as weekend plot. Good morning to you, Mr. Sebagala.
Very, very good morning to you, Priscilla. Good to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. First of all, on the side of UNCC, what are the structures and the adjustments that we're seeing in 2025?
Wow. At UNCC, of course, we look at mainly our mandate, which is basically to develop, to promote, and popularize art and culture in Uganda. So each and every activity that we do at the Uganda National Cultural Center, which is also the home to the National Theatre and the Normal Gallery, is basically to develop, promote and encourage artistic and cultural activities in that regard. So in principle, that informs each and everything that we do at the Uganda National Cultural Center.
Okay, all right. Most recently, Presidential Advisor Kenzo came up with a solution to ensure that every artist, as much as possible, in whatever capacity, can earn extra money from their talents and their skills. And as UNCC, how are you supporting that?
Okay. With the Presidential Advisor Ed Kenzo, I think the major thing that he was looking at was the copyright law, which is under amendment, and at this stage it was passed by cabinet and now getting to Parliament, so that it can be passed into an amended bill, which will be very, very instrumental to each and every creative who owns intellectual property in that regard. So once you own intellectual property, the point right now is how do you benefit economically from it, and that's why he's pushing as a presidential advisor, but even us as a cultural center and many other stakeholders have been pushing for the amendment of this bill and also its execution, because you can have a wonderful bill, but if it's not properly executed, then at the end of the day it may not be useful to that level. So the law has been there, but now we are saying, can we amend it so that we make it more useful to the creative, and at the end of the day so that the creative can earn from their works, because a good number of them have created artworks, they've created their music, their plays, but they are not earning big from that. So this law is intended to enable creatives earn from their craft by engaging institutions, even media houses like this, so that when you use our works, you are able to pay for them. When your work is used at the National Theatre, we are able to pay for it. When we come to the bars and you play our music, we come to your wedding and you play our music, we go to the hotels, the music is played, the videos are played, so that the creative is able to earn, because that is what they ideally work and earn from.
All right, so I trust that those that are underperforming arts in the theaters in Uganda are going to be benefiting well from this.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about repopularizing theater in Uganda. What's the current state of theater, especially in your observancy of post-COVID-19? It's been some good 3 years now. Have we improved, or have we reset back to where we had left it at 2019, or are there, some major adjustments that have happened?
Definitely, from 3 years since we came out of the COVID, which really affected us. For those of us who remember, when COVID hit us, the arts and culture sector was the first to be closed. And it was again the last to be opened. And definitely a good number of creatives went through a very hard time during that time, in terms of creating their works, in terms of bringing them out to be consumed by their would-be consumers, that is the audience. It was really a tough time. But we thank government that during that time, through our Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and our institution, the Uganda National Culture Center, a stimulus was created to support a number of creatives in the music, in the dance, in the drama, in the theatrical, all the 9 domains that we created, so that at the end of the day, we are able to survive. Now, post-COVID, where are we? We are seeing artists back. Okay, we have experienced a number of concerts, because that is where now you gauge a number of concerts. Even here at the Serena Hotel, you've seen quite a number of concerts that have been happening, and people, it's like they were yearning for this, because they were away for a very long time. And also the artists, I think it was a wonderful time for them to reflect on what they need to do and how best to package it. And we are seeing good progress, especially in the quality of productions that we are seeing at either here at the Serena or at the National Theatre or at the different venues where art is being exhibited. So we are seeing that progress. But the most difficult thing is in the funding. When it comes to putting together such productions, there is need for investment, so that at the end of the day, the artists put on a good show, but then also the audience to get value for their money. Right. So I believe that we are back on. Last year, I would say, when it comes to theater, we had quite a number of wonderful productions that we hosted at the National Cultural Center. Looking at Adungu Tale, that was a wonderful production. Then we had Phantom of the Opera. It was a wonderful production. Then we went to She Loves Me, a very wonderful production. When you look at the set, when you look at the casting, when you look at the directors, when you look at the fact that all these plays had scripts. So hosting them, I think for me, last year, which was like a big thing for us at the National Theatre, we were like, okay, I think artists are back and they're ready to do a good job in that regard. So we are happy with the status where it is going, and now the rope, which has like basically opened this year.
Let's speak about that production.
Yes.
The Rope. What is it based on? What's the story behind it?
Okay, the story. Rope is a play that is written by Lloyd Lutara and directed by Kaya Kajimu Mukasa. It is a crime story, a who-done-it story, where a daughter of a tycoon, a rich man, all of a sudden goes for an evening fellowship and disappears. Okay. So we keep wondering, where has this daughter, Linda, gone? She went for a fellowship and never returns to her husband's home. So we keep asking, who has Linda? Linda is missing. Where is Linda? So we are searching for Linda. We are looking out for Linda. She is lost. She is missing. She's not at her husband's. She's not at her sister's home. She's not at her parents' home. So we are all of us concerned. And therefore, an investigation ensues, is put in place. Husband, where is your wife? Sister, where is Linda? Father, where is Linda? All these characters are brought, and also a pimp is brought on board, and also a lover. Linda had a lover. Yes, she's married, but she has a lover. So the investigation goes to that level. And all these characters keep lying about something in the discovery of Linda. So that is what this story is about. I don't want to fully...
Because I was going to say, in all of this, does Linda get to be discovered, alive or dead?
Now that's the whole reason. You need to come to the National Cultural Center tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday when we are closing this show to help us find Linda.
What are the showing times of the rope?
Rope will be showing. Tonight we have 2 shows. Today. At 3 o'clock, we shall be having 1 show, and then at 7 o'clock, we shall be having another show. Today is a very special day because we are celebrating World Theatre Day. Yesterday, Uganda joined the rest of the world to celebrate the World Theatre Day, which falls on the 27th of March of every year. So yesterday we joined the celebration and we had a wonderful time with a number of thespian directors, actors, and consumers of the art. So we as producers of Rope, we decided to open up today and say, let the celebration of the World Theatre Day continue. And today we decided to have a discount on those rates and also to have 2 shows where students will only come in at 10,000 so that we enable people to access theater and also the adults to come in for 20K or 20,000 shillings. So let us make use of this opportunity so that we access theater and we consume good theater, which is bringing a subject matter on the stage. We normally have different subject matters which are not very serious. This subject matter is serious, and theater is meant to be serious. Theater is meant to provoke discussion at the end of the day.
Which, you know, when you were telling us a bit of the storyline, you're reminding me of the case of the girl Magara that is, you know, in the tabloids right now, in the, you know, in court right now. There's also the recent case of the girl who passed away at a pub here in Kampala. It begs the question, how many of these scenes in the play are actually influenced by real life events in Uganda?
A good number of those scenes are influenced by real life scenes because theater, by its nature, mirrors society. It mirrors society. So as a playwright, that is Lloyd Ultara, and any other playwright, they are in the community, they are observing. And then when there is a matter of concern, then they can be inspired into writing about that play so that theater is relevant. Because we don't just want to write about anything. So when I read this script, like you said, also I thought that probably now the playwright Lloyd Ultara also caught that incident of Magara, which is in court right now. An investigation is also happening in that regard. So theater is not apart from what we do. It is a mirror of society, and the very reason why we at the National Cultural Center support all the different domains, because art speaks to us. Art is a mirror, and art provokes the conversation so that at the end of the day we are relevant, and so that also it contributes to the development of a country in that regard. So theater is relevant, and therefore also the play that we are running right now, Rope, is relevant in that
Talk
regard.
to us, you are a producer on the Rope. Talk to us about the production challenges that you're facing, given the fact that this seems to be a very active kind of stage production that we are having.
Wow. Challenges. What could the challenges be? Okay, definitely there will always be challenges. But I think the major, when you're talking as a producer, the major challenge that we face as producers, because a producer is one who supports the creatives, okay? We have a director, we have a playwright. We want to make sure that we have this production on. So you have to look for resources. That is the major thing, because you have a big cast, you have a crew, you need to hire the theater, you need to get costumes, you need to hire rehearsal spaces, you need to facilitate the team during the rehearsal. This production has taken almost 3 months of rehearsal. So the major preoccupation of a producer is really to get resources so that at the end of the day they bankroll this production seamlessly and smoothly. So what could be the challenge? I would say It could be in really getting the full resources that we needed to put into this production at the end of the day. And that's where we call upon the different institutions to support art, because when they come in as executive producers, at the end of the day, like we see in big films where the budget is huge, then at the end of the day we are going to get the kind of quality that we need. And also I want to thank a good number of producers who, even with limited resources, are able to bring out the quality that we need and deserve. Then the other bit of it is the audiences, because at the end of the day, when you put on such a production at the National Theatre, you expect huge audience to come through. When they come through, it means you will break even as a producer. So if they do not come through, then that is trouble. So we also want to thank you, institutions like this, organizations like this, NTV, for supporting the arts. And you've really supported us, and we are seeing a growth in the audiences, because the audiences also want good quality productions, value for their money, value for their time, and consistency, so that at the end of the day, when they come to the National Theatre, they find high quality productions which give them value for their time and money.
So I'm going to assume that the challenges that you have spoken about as a producer on the raw production are not far from what really generally theatre is facing by and large as a country. But then begs the question also, what are the underlying low-hanging fruits of opportunity that, if attended to, can actually help revive theatre in Uganda?
Wow. I think at the moment we are looking at the policies. Okay, right now a number of policies are being worked on, which at the end of the day will support the theatre and the arts industry in this country. Right now there is the amendment of the National Culture Policy, which is at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. So for us, when you look at this amendment, we see it as an opportunity at the end of the day to really enable many people appreciate culture, because theatre or the arts are an embodiment of culture at the end of the day. So when we have a good policy which can be embraced by all and also implemented at all levels, then we believe that that will cause opportunities, more opportunities for us as creatives at the end of the day. Then also we look at other laws which are in place, which like in tourism, there is an opportunity when it comes to tourism, where cultural tourism has to be embraced as well. So if the artists make use of the number of people who are coming to the country to tour and love our country, because some people come, a number of tourists come in this country to see our animals and the mountains, but we're saying also come and see the people. Yeah. So when they come and touch base with our dances at, say, Indere Center, where we have every week a dance performance, they come to the National Theatre, every week we have a theatrical performance, then you are sure that at the end of the day, we the artists shall benefit from that. All right, yeah.
Andrew, as we close this conversation, what's the future of Ugandan theatre in terms of culture and entertainment within the next decade? And what is your message to the different stakeholders to do this?
Thank you very much, Priscilla. The future is very bright for this industry in which we are, that is the creative and cultural industries in Uganda. Why? Because of the content. We are in the content age, where content is driving the nation, or knowledge is driving the nation and the country at all, which we call knowledge economy. So because we are creatives, we definitely have to create content. And if the future of this world, of this country, is on content, then it means we as creatives have a future for that. But then, what is that content that you are creating? Is it relevant? How do you package that content? Because that matters a lot. So you creatives who are listening to me today, be sure to be relevant, because people want content that is relevant, content that speaks to them, content that speaks to the issues that they are facing right now, and then also how you package that content. It could be through film, it could be through dance, it could be through theater, it could be through any other form of art at the end of the day, so that we can take the arts to the future. And then for the future, I mean, my last message for the audience is that embrace the arts, embrace the culture, love your culture. Each and every one of us has where they're coming from. Let's embrace that culture and celebrate the diversity that we have when it comes to culture in this country.
Andrew Sebagala with the Uganda National Culture Center at the National Theatre, many thanks for your efforts, and we're looking forward to that future that you have made a commitment to. We take a short breather, but we return with more conversation.